Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific unboxing. Right, before we begin, first of all, apologies for the camera. I'm doing the best I can. Obviously, as you know, I've had major computer issues. I blew my computer up because that was clever. So the laptop was not coping whatsoever. So I got this thing. It's sort of doing the job, but at least I'm here. That's the main thing. So yeah, apologies for the quality. But anyway, we are here for another unboxing. Hi, come up. It looks good. Bloody hell. That's so weird. Anyway, we soldier on. Not let things beat us. Right, let's go. Probably said this before. I'm always kind of nervous, but I think it's part of it. You have to do these live. Like, I don't give myself a warning. So if this is when tits up. So be it. Nothing I can do. But it hasn't. There we go. HORRORific Tales Volume 4, Eldritch Terror. There we go. This is our seventh book. First year of HORRORific Publishing, and this is our seventh book. Oh, it's chunky this time. Like, got a whole bunch of new authors and all joined in as well. Really great. Anyway, for those of you who are not familiar, because I have been talking about this for a while, but obviously cosmic horror. So tagline is the veil is thin between our realm and the void. On the other side are things that lurk, always watching and always hungry. Some fools think that they can reach out and command them. Others seek to appeal to their better nature. There are even a number of unfortunate souls that see these entities as a focus of worship. No matter the reason, humanity was never meant to glimpse into the abyss. For what stirs back brings only horror. There we go. Yeah. So I did things a bit differently this time. I put the Kindle version on pre-sale, so that has gone live today. The paperback version has not gone live yet because I want to do my final checks. But I found by holding it back, I can get this copy. I can check it before it goes live. So as you know, those who've been with us on the journey, there's been a couple of hiccups with just the formatting thing going really weird, even though it looked good. Are all fine on screen, and then got the book, and there's a few like things with spacing and all that kind of stuff, which not the end of the world, but annoys me because obviously I want to give the best product possible out to folks. So a couple of quick changes had to be like taken off the shelves and quick changes and put back up again, which is a whole palaver. But at least I can sort of have a look at this, check it out, and see where we go from there. Right, so like I said, bunch of new authors. So I'm just going to read out the authors that we have. We have Dan Hink, Eli Beals, who you know, Roberto Miguel Gaspar, new author. Dan also, obviously I've been on the show with him and he's been on here a couple of times. So he actually submitted for volume 3. But when I read the story, you know what I mean, I've got these all penned out in advance. I know what I'm doing. Like, nope, that's get into volume 4. So that was a fortunate set of circumstances to do that. But yeah, good to have that on board. Berto Miguel Gaspar, as I said, new author. Kitty Marie's back. Fantastic. Always great to see Kitty. James Hyde, another new author. Lee Swift is back. Ivan K. Conway, another new author. Chris Andrew, you may know him. He has the odd crazy theory from time, so he wanted to get involved in this one. I think I've twisted his brain. You know, he's like really getting into this stuff now. Yep. Anthony M. Carroll's back. Always great to have Anthony. Margaret McGovern, another new person, and Al Little, another new author. So there you go, a whole bunch of new authors to check out, as well as some returning ones. I was going to add a story, but with things going on and my computer blowing up and everything else, my head wasn't in it. I got it half done, and then be honest, when I got all these, this is I think this is even thicker than volume 3. These are getting bigger and bigger. Let's have a wee check. Oh. Yep. Okay, just slightly. No god, no. There's a noticeable that much more in the way of stories here. Let me get you lined up. Yeah, yeah, they're getting bigger. Need to watch out. I might have to go back and maybe get a couple more stories, but bulk these other ones up. I want to sort of I want a nice meaty book. You know what I mean? I just don't want the bare minimum. If that makes sense. And obviously, the authors they're showcasing their work. They don't want to give in like the bare minimum either, because at the end of the day, say what you want about the anthology, but obviously each author represents themselves. So if they don't put the effort in, it'll show as well. It's a whole cyclical thing. But yeah, I oh, that's coming out nice. Yep, slightly different font. There we go. Just having a quick flick. That is looking nice. Anybody I see a few turn up. Anybody want to say hello in chat? Seeing them live? May as well. Hey, well, I'm do a 3-hour stream just going through page by page. I tell you what, I still don't not get nervous every time I do one of these. I always think when I put out the submissions, nobody's going to be interested. This is the one that nobody cares about. Or when I do the book, when I actually finish it, even though like loads and loads of checks and stuff, I'm always worried. Oh, this is the one I'm going to completely stuff up and look stupid. Or you know how it is. When you're putting yourself out there, or you're putting like a creation together, you have all these thoughts in your head. So it's always amazing, like to get to this point and the actual book come out. God, that's looking good. I'm just having a quick flick because I know the stories, know the format, and it's more about I'm a big thing about like I want the pages, I want it flowing nice. I want new paragraphs starting at the top of each page. I don't want like run overs and all that kind of stuff. I don't want it looking like just thrown into the book. You know what I mean? I want it actually crafted. Yeah, they're looking nice. Yep. Dun-dun-dun. Quick flick. Right, I'm also having a look and just seeing if anyone wants to say hello. I see a few of you joining in there, so I know there's a wee bit of a delay with the old interwebs and that good stuff. Yeah. Oh god, I'm happy. Yep. Let's come out. Let's come out. Yep. Of course, obviously, once I finish the stream, I'll go through this all properly before sending the authors their copies and then releasing this into the wild to see what happens. But if you're thinking about it, please, pick up a copy. This is our last one of the year, 2025. I'd love to get this into some charts or something. You know the way Amazon works. It's all about the first 24 hours of sales and all that kind of stuff, and then that's other people see and etc. etc. Yeah, those pictures come out well as well. We graphics to do. Yeah. Oh, this is looking good. Yep. Happy. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything glaring. There was a major issue with Volume 3. I had to pull it and then re-release it again because something happened with the formatting and it just went, big gaps everywhere and did weird shit. And I was like, what the hell? And it doesn't matter how many times you check. You can check the digital all you want and it can line up and it can do its things. But until you actually get the physical copy, and that's what I do, I get physical copies from each of the platforms and go through them. That's why there's always the delay, between like when I send out the email and let you know where it's available, etc. Because I want to make sure it's all good. So I just get a physical copy. I have to kind of trust the digital that does its thing. But yeah, yep, that's all looking good, looking nice. Yep, that was a nice wee church sign. Some interesting stories as well. Once again, I haven't got was it? I've got 12 stories in this. I haven't got all the same story. You know what I mean? And only one features actual no, sorry, two stories feature tentacles, but they're both done in an imaginative way, so they can't compare the two stories if that makes sense. But each story is different, comes from a different perspective, also has different style, but you know it's all about um cosmic horror and the abyss and lurking things, that look hungrily on the human world and all that good stuff and the strange. And you can see a few influences as well. Like there's a Silent Hill influence with one of them, and what do you call it again? Oh my god, the Keanu Reeves remake, The Day the Earth Stood Still. God, you can see influences from that. Uh, see a bit of color out of space as well in here. You know what I mean? And we've got it all. We've got cultists. We've got just the unfortunate happening by. We've got adults. We've got kids. We've got characters. Just all sorts of happenstance how they go about, which is great. And like I said, it's great to see new authors come on board as well as returning authors. I want to keep that balance. I always want to bring new people on every time I do one of these anthologies, but I also want to keep authors with me. It's all about building the community and keeping the consistency, so you know what you're getting. If you've read one of these and you like a particular author, there's a good chance they'll be back on again. Yeah, that's looking good. Oh yeah, yep. I'll not lie. I'm quite impressed. Is it okay if I say that? Is it okay if I say I'm impressed? I'm happy. I'm proud of putting these out here. If that makes sense. Um, this started as just an idea. Like I thought, well, what if I reach out to the authors that have been spitting the work, the horrific tales segment. What if I started doing these anthologies? I wanted to get to a certain point with the podcast that we had a following before doing it. And then as I said last year, I felt like we were there, and I thought I'd give it a go. So as you know, this is the fourth anthology in the horrific tales series, but also we have Dale Gibson and Chris Andrew, our authors, on board, and I'm in talks at the moment about another author coming on board and more works. So not only will I have the horrific tales segment, but we've got our authors coming on board too, and their works, and we'll see how those conversations go. But as you know, we're already working on The Perfect Butterfly. That's Dale Gibson's doing a biography of Gorilla Metropolitana, an indie filmmaker. And yeah, we're working on that at the moment. That's something a bit different, if I'm honest, from the usual fare. And yeah, I'm excited because once again, it's different. It's a different focus. Uh, the visuals and all we're doing are different. Uh, we've also started working on the second volume of Chris's Crazy Theories, so we started planning that out. Oh, excuse me, pardon. As I am in talks with another author at the moment. Want to get obviously the next thing to do is the celebration stream for this. Get all the authors that have taken part on board. That looks better outside, doesn't it? I don't know why the camera. That's a strange one. The camera is picking it up nicer on this side than that side. That's very, very strange. Yeah, that's doing good. But yep, let's do the wee flippy Rooney. Come and see the full beastie. Big beastie in the middle. Yep. That'll happen. And of course I changed the logo to match in with the theme and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm really happy. I'm happy we made it. I said I was hoping hoping to get the 7 volumes out, at least get the fourth one out this year, and plus what was a bonus was getting the second Mistress of Darkness book out. That didn't expect that to go as quickly as it did, but we got it done. Of course, there were a few delays with Chris's Crazy Theories, first foray into foolishness, but at the end of the day, we got that done. I'm really happy with that. But getting this, finishing off the year, no delays, getting it out. So, like I said, I'll have a proper check through, final checks, make sure everything's looking good, all the details are there, check QR codes, all that kind of stuff, bleeping the phone, make sure it goes to the right pages. That's always a thing to double check and make sure I've done right. And yeah, that's it. Kindle version is available now, and like I said, this will be going live very, very shortly, all going well, and it's looking good so far, so I don't see any reasons why it shouldn't. There you go. Another volume, and oh, there you are, Chris. Hi, are you? I was waiting for somebody to turn up. I was just getting ready to wrap up there because I thought nobody was going to pop on and say hello. Hey, man. Yep, it's finally here. Well happy. It's looking good. All stories have turned out great. They're all different. And yeah, it's just great to have so many different authors. Like I said, that's a big thing as well. Just more people are finding out about us. More people are coming on board. And that's a massive thing, when people trust you with their work and they're happy to associate with you. It's always a good thing. Good vibes all around. So that's fantastic. And then not everybody. That's the thing as well, because these anthologies are going to cover all aspects of horror. That's the plan. Cover all the subgenres and uh, quirky things, that we'll have in the horror genre, and might get them, once we get to like volume 20, it'll probably get a bit more abstract, etc. But that's the idea, is to cover the whole spectrum of the horror genre. So with that in mind, not every author is going to submit to every anthology, which is cool. Everyone's got their style, and that's what I want. I don't want repetitiveness. I don't want you, especially the customer, I don't want you as getting bored. I want to have, something different. And also, if you're interested in other genres of horror, then why not stick with a series? Do you know what I mean? And some might land, some won't. You might appreciate the stories, even if you're not fully a fan of the genre. But once again, it's a storytelling mechanism. It's just the backdrop. So the important thing is the story. It's all about the character's journey, what they encounter, do they overcome or not. Oh, did he do one? Then all right, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, well, obviously when the newsletter comes out this week, I'll get that added then if he's done it. So he said nice things. You know what I mean? That's if he hasn't ripped us a new one, you know what Adam could be like at times. Over an Evil Live, I'm guessing. Yeah, over an Evil Live channel, obviously. Good buddy of mine, and with actually, I need to get back on, and we need to do something together again. It's been ages. Just he's doing his things. He started Darlands. He's building a whole RPG world, like a dark fantasy tabletop role playing game. I mean, he's writing all that. He's trying to get an artist on board because he wants a certain style. It's not his style, and that's the thing as well. Just because your aesthetic may not be what you create, it's a strange thing about being a creator. You may create a certain thing, but you might be a fan of something else. And he realized that he has a certain aesthetic, he creates a certain way, but the look he wants something else completely different. So he's looking into all that and like building this whole thing from scratch. And I know he's been doing play tests on his channel and stuff, and people on board. And obviously his Dragonlance channel, what's that, 20,000 subscribers at the moment. It's massive. I mean, he's absolutely nailing it with that. And of course, we are hoping to get on in the new year to finish off the What We Do in the Shadows style game of Vampire the Masquerade, which so much fun, just mental craziness and what you would expect from merging those two games. Yeah, so yeah, have to obviously, if you haven't already, subscribe to the newsletter. That'll be coming out. Comes out every week. Let you know what's going on in the channel, not just upcoming streams, etc., but things that are going on. Oh, 28.2, bloody hell. Fair play to him. Like, you know what I mean? That is, I remember when he hit 10,000. I was like, holy crap, fair play. But yeah, absolutely nailing it with that. But anyway, let's talk about me. We're on my channel. We're going to talk about me, all right? It's all fun. I don't do that. How can you begrudge? I know there's a thing with YouTube and YouTube beefs and all that sort of shite. But first of all, no, I mean, I'm never going to begrudge a friend of mine any form of success. That is mental. Do you know what I mean? That is, I don't understand. You hear these stories, don't you? Somebody does well, and then somebody bitches about them and falls out. You're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't get that. Um, it's the same as like a lot of great authors here, absolutely smashing it in their own areas, but they still have time to get involved with this, and they're still happy to come on the channel and talk. And I love that. I love the fact that people are forging their own paths and getting on, but they still are happy to make connections. And I think that's something about the horror genre. It's unique. I know it's a bit of a nerd thing too, that because we are outsiders and weirdos and don't quite fit in, that when we find someone else who's just as weird as us, we're like, yeah, I like you, you'll do. And then we've all got extreme personalities, and that's always fun getting into the mix, especially when it goes wrong and a few beers get involved, you know what I mean? But I never understood this begrudging anyone's success. Um, God, like Dan Hank, he has his own anthologies out. Do you know what I mean? He produces his own anthologies, and he also does his own artwork for them. I'll give you a wee bit of a spoiler, but I'll let you see. Let me flickety flick. Just while yeah, I'm just spinning here, by the way, just going off and tangents and stuff. So bear with me. You know what it's like. Anyone who comes on these live streams, but you know what I mean, he drew that himself and gave it in to go with the story. And when he does his anthologies, he does all his own artwork. I'm a Photoshop guy. I'm a Microsoft Paint. I am tragic, but I always something I was always wanted to do was like draw, but I'm hapless at it. Seems as though I always wanted to play music, but I'm hapless at that too. Anyone that remembers me playing the flute and the bugle will testify to that fact. But hey ho, you got to try. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's great. Like, would I, Dan, for example, would I begrudge him one bit of a success if he does 100,000 sales? Fair play to him. I'm also grateful that he gets involved in this. You know what I mean? It's all about that just mutual appreciation, and you make friends because you have something in common. It's the same as everybody else on here. They've all got their own social medias. They've all got their own things going on. People at different levels forging their path. Some new to the writing game, sort of just getting themselves into it, and having the confidence to actually submit. And I don't look at that, you know what I mean? I just look at the story. That's what I look at when I get these submissions. I look at the story. And if it's a good story, and also B, fits some of the anthology, they had them on board. That's all I'm looking for. And then I find out the things afterwards, because obviously I want to find out about people, because I want them on the channel if they haven't been already, and yeah, get to talk to them and get them involved. And that's kind of the whole thing here as well. If because I know I've had loads of new subscribers lately, so this might be their first time seeing a live stream, because God, since September, you have all come out of nowhere. That's really great to see. But if you're not familiar, this The difference here is you get to meet the authors. This isn't just some faceless entity that appears and, the publishing house that, uh, pops up and you've no idea who, what, or whatever. Here, I'll talk you through the process, how it went on, and good and the bad, and the frustrating parts, and where it went really well. And also, you get to meet the authors and you get to hear the ideas. And yeah, we'll go off on tangents and talk nerdy stuff as well. But hey, oh, that's part of the fun. But at least you get something a bit extra. You get to know the folks. And I think it adds something to the stories, and you know where somebody's mind is or what they were thinking about. Or if you even get the, I always find when people talk about the movies they've watched or the books they've read, you can kind of know what's influenced them. And then sometimes their life story or what, you know, you see that whole melding, how their imagination sparks and then how stories end up a certain way. And when they get a certain flavor, where that comes from. And I just find it fascinating. I find creativity just great. I don't understand people that don't, if that makes sense. It's not about making money. It's not about, commercialization. It's about just taking you out of yourself and finding that outlet. And you can tell the difference between somebody that does, like even just having a hobby. You can see the difference between somebody that does have a hobby, has an interest, has a passion outside of the normal go to work, go through the daily grind, etc., and somebody that doesn't. You can see, even just the conversations you have, you can see that sort of twinkle in their eye when you land on their topic. Have you ever done that? Yeah, you're talking to somebody and you just mention something and you find out that they're really into it, and you just see a little twinkle in the eye, and they're like, "Aha, this is my thing, and I'm going to regale you." Sometimes it's great, other times you're like, "Oh God, what have I done?" But it- that's what makes people interesting. That's what makes us all unique. But anyway, I'm rambling. Uh, yeah, this is out now. In Kindle, I'm going to do final checks. Then the paperback will be released. I'll do an email. So if you're on the email list, you'll find out when it's going, but I'll do the social media posts as well. But yeah, so far, really happy. Seventh book we've published in a year, like 1 year, first year of HORRORific Publishing, 7 books. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm quite happy they've got that far, to be honest. I've heard some people don't get close to that. Some are better, I'm happy with that number, just the way things have turned out. So that sets me up for 2026. As you know, 2026, I've booked my first convention, and that's HorrorCon in Leeds. I think it's 6th of April. I'll be obviously putting more details about it, but I'm going to be going to conventions. That's next year. We'll still be carrying on. I mean, this won't stop. Got to keep the momentum going. But I'll be going to convention next year as well. So if obviously if you're in the UK, yeah, there's a chance to come to the convention. I'll be at a table. Come over and say hello, all that good stuff, and these will be available to see it for sale. We'll see what volume we'll get up to by the time I get out the first table in April. Depending if something comes out before or not, but that's a thing. Looking into bookshops, that's obviously building up the catalog. Brand new publishing company, building up the catalog so that with something they actually offer to bookstores. It's all obviously available online, so wherever you can get books, this is there. It's all over the show. Check out your local libraries as well, because it's available in the library networks. Ask for it. Ask in your local bookstore. Why not? If you happen to go past, ask for the latest HORRORific Tales. It all helps. It just gets word out there. If you do pick up a copy, please leave a review. And even if you've got, constructive criticism, that's fine. The important thing is, but find out, same with the other books, you read them, leave a review. It all helps get the word out there. But there you go. Yeah, next thing I'll do, obviously, organize the celebration stream so you can meet the authors. And that just leaves me to say, until next time, keep up to date with the channel, do the technical things, And remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.